across as quickly as possible and open the Bifrost gate. Watch yourselves. The wrecking crew aren't going to be pushovers.
Alright guys, welcome to episode 29 of Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and we are working our way across the Bifrost Bridge. We picked up another simulator disc here. And just in case you're wondering why Captain America holds the lead...
My sword dragon thing has gone missing, and I've reason to believe it is located somewhere near you. Should you find it, would you contact me?
If you're wondering why Captain America holds the lead after we spent so long with Spider-Man in the front spot, it is primarily because I'm unlocking costumes. And since we unlocked all of Spider-Man's costumes already, I'm now trying to unlock all of Cap's costumes. I'm not going to change him into any of them because personally I like Cap's ultimate costume here best. It sort of strikes the most resonance with the cinematic universe presentation of Cap, even if it's not the original Cap costume. You know, same thing with Spider-Man. I don't really see a need to change Spider-Man's costume. The only character, in fact, I kind of like the default costumes the best on the characters, and the way that costumes work is they're a separate level. You know, they're like different upgrades to your character. So if you change your character's costume, your stats kind of revert to a base level because you haven't built up those stats on that costume yet. So in some ways you could say it adds replayability to the game, but honestly, if you're trying to maximize your efficiency and your money, you should pick one costume you like, hopefully it's the first one, and just max that one out so that you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And then after you're done playing, if you've got a bunch of money left over, you can always go and unlock other things and use the mission simulator and other things to go get those costumes. Some costumes of characters that I like that aren't represented here. I like the Beta Ray Bill costume for Thor. I think that's kind of cool. That's Thor's third costume, so you kind of have to play for a little while to get to that. I'm not a big fan of Wolverine's default costume in this game. Primarily, it's not. I don't know. It's not really a Hugh Jackman costume. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, I think, tried to do that, a more faithful representation of Wolverine's appearance as being Hugh Jackman-like. So, you know, I prefer one of his X-Men outfits. You've got the orange and red, which is Wolverine's, I think, one of Wolverine's oldest costume. And you also have the more X-Men friendly yellow and blue costume available. So, I mean, you know, those are examples of costumes that aren't default on the character that, you know, I would like better than what they give you. Miss Marvel does have a Captain Marvel costume in this game. I don't think it's labeled as such, but, you know, when you run across it, you'll understand what I mean. But I got really used to her power set in this costume, so that's why I didn't make the switch, even though if I was replaying the game now, with Captain Marvel movie all set to come out, and Brie Larson cast as the character, and we're going to get Captain Marvel in the Infinity War movie somewhere before, you know, we get to Captain Marvel's own movie, which evidently is going to be a throwback and maybe an apology to Samuel L. Jackson, who was kind of upset about the lack of screen time he was getting in some of the current Marvel movies. He's going to have a bigger role in that. It's also going to be interesting to see if they try to make Samuel Jackson younger because of, or using just makeup, or if they're going to actually CGI a younger Samuel Jackson on the older Samuel Jackson's face. I don't really think they're going to try that hard to do it, because I don't think they've actually given Nick Fury... Well, I take that back. At the end of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, you see Nick Fury's tomb, which I assume told you where his actual birthday. So we do know how old the guy was. So I guess we can't sort of make up, just some random birth date for the guy. I don't remember what that date was, and for the purposes of this, I'm not going to go back and see what it was. I was much more interested in the fact that they had a Pulp Fiction reference on that tombstone than I was that, Nick Fury might have been 50 or 70 or 90, depending on what you might believe. So we've been running around Asgard. There's been some Asgardian archers shooting at us. We've been pushing some rune stones onto some runes. And we're also supposed to be on the lookout for Valkyrie's sword, which is around here somewhere. It's just a side quest. You don't have to do it, but it does affect something at the end of the game, even though it doesn't affect anything within the game itself. Valkyrie's character in this is most interesting largely because of their decision to make her the love interest of a particular character, and we'll get into that later. This is coming out in October of 2017, so the trailers are already being shown for Thor Ragnarok, and Valkyrie is supposed to be in that movie. She's going to be... She, like Heimdall before her, are going to be portrayed a little bit different in the movie than they are in this game. And I think that, if you've seen the trailer, what I'm talking about is rather obvious. So we picked up Odin's hammer here, and we're just going to let Cap beat the heck out of people with it, because it's a big hammer. I'm not sure what the most ridiculous weapon in the game is, from a sense, unlike Chrono Trigger and the mop. There's not really an iconic weapon that you can whack people with that's like really funny, but I think this one would certainly be up there. So now we need to match the rune stones again with the runes. So this is about as puzzly as we get here. There are, I think there are either 3 or 4 rune stones here. I mean, okay, there are 4. So there are 4 rune stones for every panel. You've got to be careful about sort of the symbol iconography on each stone. Make sure you've got a match. Otherwise, you're going to be pushing things around again, and we don't want to do that. I don't remember if you can fall off the stage or not. Yeah, so... There we go. It powers up the runes, and now we can be able to step on the runes. So let's go step on the runes. And now we have access to a bridge that wasn't there before. Now the reason I've changed to Miss Marvel here is not because we've unlocked all of Cap's costumes. I don't think that's happened. It was mainly so I could have her flight ability as I was moving around some of these areas so we didn't fall to our deaths. Because if you look over these walls here, you can see there's not anything there. And it is a long way down. But now that we're solidly on the bridge, you know, we can switch back to Cap and we can start hitting we can take people out with this giant hammer. You know, as I tried to do my best unintentional Porky Pig impression. And I'm just sort of combing around. I'm looking at the map, trying to figure out if there's any sort of little secret. Because remember, we're looking for that sword. And at this point in the playthrough, I don't know where the sword is off the top of my head. So, you know, I'm kind of being cautious that I don't run by it, because I really would like to pick it up. Speaking of that,
thank you, humans. I will not forget this. Come to me, Dragon Fang. Together we will aid Asgard in her time of need.
okay, I mean, that kind of brings some questions. I don't know why Valkyrie can summon her sword from wherever she is currently, but maybe she couldn't do it before because she was stuck in the not Valkyrie being stuck in the stone, but the sword was stuck in the stone. And we're going to play with this Asgardian gear, and we now have a doorway for us to go through. Wait for Venom to catch up here. Alright, and so now that is the pathway to the gate that leads to Earth. But there's this whole other side of this area that we didn't look at, because, you know, there was more than one way to get here. We just happened to choose the way that led to Valkyrie's sword. This is why you can miss Valkyrie's sword, because if you come from the other direction, you will never see it. Unless you keep going.
Sorry about that.
But hey, a little more experience can't hurt, right? You know, we haven't been in a lot of danger so far. Okay, I can't tell if there's anything. I don't think there's a bridge there. I think it's just a big black void because we need to activate it from the other side. So we're not going to mess with that. Let's go back to the door. I think the door is where we need to go. Alright. I'm kind of concerned I'm going to lose my hammer. Okay. Well, and I lost the hammer. Alright, well, it looks like the Wrecking Crew's lived up to their name and trying to block our path here, so we can only go so far on this on this particular path. And there's fire down here. And of course, opposition. Of Cap's moves, I think you can see that I use... Oh, yeah. Another thing that starts happening at this point in Asgard, and I'll get back to Captain America in a sec, is you start running across villains that require some special move to do damage to them before before you're allowed to kill them. This is going to be something that's going to carry over into the realm of the Frost Giants when we go there. Spoilers. And we'll see it off and on for the rest of the game. Alright, so we're trying to avoid the fire, and I think that if we had turned to Miss Marvel, we might have been able to fly over all that stuff without too much problem. Okay, so now we just need to push down this drawbridge. And we've got another stretch of the Bifrost, or this bridge network. Ah, now we have a second obstacle. Fireballs, and you can dodge these. The problem that I have is the light that they generate are so close together you can't exactly see where the spaces are. And you can see that they have basically almost killed and now have killed Captain America. And of course, when in doubt, cheat. And it turns out that flying Miss Marvel, although she's not quite at the end of it, is the best way to go about this. And so then